Welcome back to our channel. In this session, we're exploring the key differences between monolithic and microservices architectures, highlighting their advantages and challenges. In the previous session, we discussed microservices, their pros and cons. If you missed it, I encourage you to watch session 2 for a better understanding. Now let's dive into our current topic.
First, let's discuss the monolithic architecture. Monolithic architecture is a traditional software design approach where all components of an application are combined into a single, unified program. This means that the user interface, business logic, and data access layers are all tightly coupled and run as a single service. Characteristics of monolithic architecture include single codebase. All functionalities are contained in one codebase. Tightly coupled components are interdependent, making changes to one part potentially affect others. Deployment. The entire application is deployed as a single unit. Scaling. Scaling requires duplicating the entire application, which can be inefficient. A classic example of a monolithic application is an e-commerce platform where the user interface, payment processing, product catalog, and user management are all part of the same application. If a developer needs to update the payment system, they must redeploy the entire application.
Microservices architecture. Microservices architecture is a modern software design approach that structures an application as a collection of small, independent services. Each service focuses on a specific business capability and can be developed, deployed, and scaled independently. Characteristics include decentralized. Each service has its own codebase and database, allowing for independent development and deployment. Loose coupling services communicate over well-defined APIs, reducing dependencies. Scalability. Individual services can be scaled independently based on demand. Technology diversity. Different services can be built using different technologies and languages. An example of a microservices architecture is a streaming service like Netflix. Different functionalities such as user authentication, content catalog, recommendations, and streaming are handled by separate microservices. This allows Netflix to deploy updates to its recommendation engine without affecting the streaming service.
Key differences between monolithic and microservices architecture. Monolithic architecture single code base. The entire application is built as one cohesive unit. Tightly coupled components. Interdependencies make changes affect the whole system. Unified deployment. The entire application is deployed together. Scaling challenges. Scaling involves duplicating the whole application, which can be inefficient. Longer development cycles. More complex changes require coordinated efforts from multiple teams. Limited technology choices, typically constrained to a single technology stack. Fault propagation. A failure in one area can potentially take down the entire application. Microservices, architecture, decentralized services. The application is divided into small independent services. Loose coupling. Services operate independently with minimal dependencies. Independent deployment. Each service can be deployed separately and more frequently. Efficient scaling. Individual services can be scaled independently based on demand. Faster development cycles. Teams can work on different services simultaneously, allowing for faster releases. Diverse technology stack. Different services can utilize various technologies and programming languages. Fault isolation. Failures in one service do not necessarily impact others, enhancing overall system resilience.
Choosing between monolithic and microservices architecture depends on various factors, including the size of the application team structure and scalability requirements. While monolithic architecture may be suitable for smaller applications, microservices offer flexibility and scalability for larger, more complex systems. If you enjoy the content and find it helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support means a lot and will help us create more informative and exciting content for you.